Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Johnson. I'm here today to talk to you about inferences. Many of you have already talked about inferences in class, and you also went over it in our last bundle. But today we're going to review a little bit about inferences and do some fun activities again in this bundle. So let's review what inferences mean. If you are inferring or making an inference, you are using clues from the text or from the pictures, plus using things that you already know that's inside your mind, inside your brain. If you do both of those things, then you will get a good idea. So you're using both of those to get a good idea, the clues and things that you already know. When you are inferring and you're gathering those clues like a detective, you can gather clues from many different places. You can look at the picture and gather ideas and clues about what's happening from the picture. You can get clues from the text that you are reading. You can even get clues from the characters in the story by their expressions, what they're wearing, what they're doing, and the things that they're saying from the story. And then finally, we can get clues from the author. Maybe you can think about, why did the author write this story? What was the author's purpose? So all of these ways are ways that we can gather clues. So you need to be thinking all the time as you're reading each page. As you are reading and gathering clues, you are also should be using your background knowledge. If you have on your thinking cap, like this little boy in our picture, then you are thinking about all the great information and ideas that you already have in your mind. That's called background or prior knowledge. It's also a fancy word called schema. So all the time your brain is working, thinking about, what do you know here? What do you know there? What do you know here? Well, when you're doing that, you are making connections, and you could be making connections to yourself, to another text, or even to the whole outside world. Lots of ways to make connections with what you already know. Making connections while you read is very important. Remember, when we are inferring, we think about what we already know and the clues that we see. So when we make connections, we're thinking about all of those things that have maybe already happened to you, maybe to a friend, or maybe you have read it about somewhere else. We can make those three types of connections: text to text, text to world, or text to self. So these connections are very important, like I said, so that you can help draw from all of those things that you already know and the clues that you've gathered to try to infer what is happening in the story, or maybe what's going to happen next. Now we're going to talk about some words that you might use when you are inferring. When you get to a part in your story or a part in your text, when you are ready to infer, you might use some of these phrases that are on this page. They can help you get your sentence started so that you know that your sentence is actually going to be an inference that you're making. So the first one might say, I think. You might say, I think the boy is running to first base. Or you might say, maybe they have an umbrella because it's raining outside. You could use phrases like, I infer that, and finish that sentence. Or how about, I predict they will win the game because I can see on the scoreboard that it is 7-2. You could even try, my guess is that, and then finish that sentence. Or how about try, perhaps they're wearing a winter coat because it's very cold outside. You could even try, this could mean that the boy got in trouble for being mean to his sister. Or you could even do, it could be that, and finish that sentence. It could be that the dog is barking because the cat is running down the street. So all of these phrases can help you while you're inferring as well. So the big question, why do we infer? Why is making inferences so important? Well, if you do that, then as a reader, you are going to be able to understand more about the story, okay? When you look for clues in what the characters say and do. So that is really important. You need to look for those clues. That will help you be a better a better reader, and help you understand a little bit more about what's going on in the story. If you look at the picture down here on this little poster of these people, you can tell, let's talk about what they're doing. It looks like they might be sitting on a bench or maybe some bleachers. They have on warm coats and hats and gloves and scarves. But that dad looks like he's waving a flag. So, maybe they're at some type of sporting event. So we have some thinking bubbles. We might have one that says, they're wearing winter coats. I see that. I'm using my clues from that picture. Or you might be thinking, ooh, well, they have on winter coats and hats and gloves, so it must be pretty cold outside. Or you might even be saying, they must really like football if they're sitting outside in that cold weather. So all three of those thoughts are inferences, and I gathered that just from looking at that picture and what those characters were doing. When I'm thinking all of those things, that helps me be a better reader. So to wrap up, making inferences or inferring is as simple as taking what you have read, taking what you already know inside your background with your background knowledge or in your schema, and turning that into your inference. Gather those clues. Think about all those thoughts that are going inside your head, and you will be very good at inferring. Great job, guys. Have fun with our next activities.